Good morning. Welcome to a new class. Today we'll be looking at hair fall. This is something that everybody is scared of. Everybody likes to protect their hair. From ancient civilization to now, hair is seen as like a status symbol. The more hair you have throughout your age, the more higher in society you sort of present yourself, and you have this attachment to hair. A lot of people have attachment to their hair, and they do whatever it takes to protect their hair and not let it fall. But there are different conditions to hair fall, things like alopecia, pattern baldness, hair fall in general. Some amounts of hair fall throughout the day is fine, but if you're experiencing large chunks of hair falling, especially seasonally, you may notice, such as in winter. Like if you look at a tree throughout autumn and winter, they shed their leaves. It's the same thing with humans. If you want to understand how to protect your hair fall, I can go into the science part of it, which is linked to hormones, which is linked to different pathways in the body and different nutrients, nutritional deficiencies, etc., etc. And I'll explain that briefly, but we'll look at three archetypes today, which is a representation of good hair. And if you walk upon the path of the teachings of those three archetypes, then you'll have better hair. So let's look at the science part of it first. Hair fall can actually teach you a lot. Your hair actually teaches you a lot. There are a lot of things involved, a lot of complexities involved in when someone is experiencing hair fall. It's just not one thing like some other conditions are. It's just like one cause. This has multiple causes. It's multifactorial. In Ayurveda, and Chinese medicine and Greek medicine, there are three things that you need to focus on when it comes to hair fall. The first thing is kidney health. Okay, so kidneys, your kidney qi, kidney balance in Chinese medicine is known, if it's out of balance, it's known to cause hair fall. And then we have your sperm health or libido, reproductive health. Okay, so I'm just going to put libido. And then we have your bone health. Okay, in Ayurveda, this is known as asti dhatu, which is bone tissue. And it's the direct correlation with hair fall. If you don't have good bone health, dense bones, you're likely to get hair fall, osteoporosis, etc., all those conditions, you're likely to get hair fall. These are the three main categories I want you to focus on as we go out through this class, and we'll make all the connections to these categories. First things first, there are a lot of hormones involved when it comes to hair loss. So we have insulin, that's right, hormones. This is science part of it. Insulin, this is actually secondary. The first one is DHT, testosterone, adrenals, that's organ that is involved, thyroid hormones. Okay, so T3 and T4, estrogen, cortisol, stress, cortisol. Okay. We live in a society which essentially heightens our stress response. It fries our adrenals. If you look at where the adrenals are located in the body, they're actually located just above the kidneys. They have a direct impact on kidneys. I'm just going to draw kidneys here like this, and then it's a really bad drawing, but you can play with it. The kidneys, and then right on top of it, we have our adrenals. And all societal structure, the status, the games you play in society to live up to expectations, all what they do is they hide in your stress, so cortisol, and directly impacts your adrenal glands and fries your adrenals. Over a period of time, you get adrenal fatigue, you get high blood pressure, etc., and they all impact your kidney health. Stress leads to high blood pressure. Why high blood pressure is important? Your head is sensitive to heat. So as soon as you're in contact with any sort of heat generation in your body, it travels up and your hair becomes really hot. Your head becomes really hot. And that is damaging to the hair shafts or follicles or strands. People who do saunas, people who run on a regular basis, long periods of time, long periods of sauna, 5-10 minutes max. But if you're in there for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and you're doing it every single day, over a period of time, you find that people who do saunas and also run long hours, they lose their hair quite quickly. You're not meant, it's sort of unnatural to do that for the human body. And I'm saying this is sort of controversial, but running long hours is unnatural for the body, and hence the muscles become weak, the knees get the pressure, and you lose out on bones and density, which again is linked to hair fall. So not only does stress affect the kidneys, affect the head. The head is sensitive to heat. So I'll just draw this over here. Your head, your hair, and is sensitive to heat. If you're out at lunchtime in bright day sunlight, it will affect your hair. But in the morning, it won't, because the sunlight is not as strong. So just be mindful. Even when you go into a sauna, for example, you'll notice the first thing that gets hot before your body is actually your hair strands. It's quite interesting. And that's why you should be careful when you are stressed or you have high blood pressure. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this society that we live in is conducive to our adrenals being fried and our kidneys being attacked, etc. Then any sort of change in our life, again, as I discussed earlier about the thyroid gland being the butterfly metamorphosis, okay? The thyroid gland it's sensitive to change. Whenever there is some sort of change in your life, your work changing, your shifting houses, relationships, etc., your thyroid gland is most sensitive to that and you'll get affected. And hence, imbalances of T3 and T4 can also affect hair fall. Your libido, testosterone in your body, it's actually testosterone in your body. It converts to DHT, but the sensitive to DHT, so the sensitivity to DHT is what causes hair fall. It's not that too much testosterone will cause hair fall. A lot of people have high testosterone levels throughout their life, especially men as they age, but their DHT, the sensitivity to DHT, they become more sensitive, and that contributes to hair fall. Hormonal genetics is a huge cause of hair fall. Stress, nutritional. Again, if you're stressed out, you'll naturally be nutrient deficient in a lot of things because your body is not able to absorb or digest the food that you're eating properly. Nutritional deficiencies such as zinc, biotin, iron, fat, protein, okay? All of these lead to hair fall. Too much vitamin A and too much selenium also lead to hair fall. Also, something to be mindful of, medical causes like autoimmune, and then you have treatments, chemotherapy, etc. Cosmetic and aging as well lead to hair fall. So that's a summary just of the science part of why you get hair fall. Now we'll look at the 3 archetypes that I was discussing earlier that will teach you how to deal with hair fall much better. And we'll also discuss herbs and supplements, which is a crucial aspect to supporting your hair health. Be mindful of your kidneys, your libido, and your bone health. Good quality hair can be seen from healthy kidneys, from a healthy libido, and good bone health. Okay, so if you look at someone and they don't have good quality hair, you can almost conclude that their kidneys are not functioning properly or their sexual health, their libido is not strong. Libido is also considered as ojas, or your vitality, your energy. It's the most potent tissue, according to Ayurveda, in your body. It comes right after everything is produced, which has the power to create life. If you have good libido, generally your whole body is luminous. It has this invigorating energy in it. And then we have bone health. So protect your bones with strong muscles, going to the gym, not overly exercising. Again, too much exercise, too much, it generates too much heat in the body. And like I discussed earlier, your head is heat sensitive. Now let's move on to the 3 archetypes. If you look at in society that we live in, who are the 3 people or 3 archetypes that come to your mind that you've seen have good hair? And you'll be surprised, but it's a homeless man or a woman. Okay? And mind you, like, I'm not gonna, like, the archetypes that I'm gonna share, they're all men, but this is just to help you understand good hair health. It's not men and women. I'm not biased towards men, but these are the archetypes that just came up to my mind. The first archetype is a homeless man or woman. And then we have a yogi. Okay, so the yogi, not the monks that shave their head off. I'm just talking about the yogis that have long hair. They meditate for long hours and they have really good quality hair. Homeless man, yogi, and then we have David. So I'll share the story of David and Goliath if you haven't heard of it. Basically, David, who is a young boy, he defeats massive giant. And this is a metaphor, by the way, for hair fall. So I'll explain that. But he defeats Goliath, who's a armored, strong, big man. And then we have, this is one archetype, and then we have Shiva, who you can also sort of say yogi, but in the human form, sort of, we're just going to understand Shiva and David as one archetype. And these are going to be our case studies for understanding hair fall. These 3 archetypes, what do they have in common? They are not worried about status. Okay. So first point is no status. Across, as I discussed earlier, ancient civilization, the hair was represented as status. If you have good hair, even today, people love to protect their hair. That's why even after they get hair fall or they get hair loss completely, they wear wigs to maintain their aura or maintain their energy as a man, especially. So the homeless man, the yogi, They don't really care about their status. There is sebum production, a lot of sebum production. We live in a society where there is a lot of chemicals that we use on our head, especially sodium lauryl sulfate, KSLS, which strips away the natural sebum that is produced from our hair. Sebum is oil that is produced to protect our hair follicles from atmospheric damage. It's got vitamin E, it's got antimicrobial lipids. It's like a protective barrier for your head or your hair. They have good sebum production. They simply don't use chemicals on their hair, especially things like heavily chemicalized shampoos. They let sebum production happen. They don't have any status. They live in the present moment. Okay. Having no status also means living in the present moment, living in the present, no loss. They're not attached to anything. Hence, they're not scared of losing anything. And no attachment. The more you're attached to something, the more likely you are to lose it. So it's quite funny. It's a paradox that we live in, or we think that we have control over things we put effort into, and we can shape reality, whatever it is. We have this egoistic belief that we can control our body, etc. And we put force, we apply efforts to do anything we can to protect our status, protect our image, and protect our hair. I'm just going to link. So when I say status, society, etc., Goliath, when I use these words, I want you to just think hair fall metaphorically. Okay. They are grounded. All these people are grounded. They're attached to the earth. And why I say that, we're just going to draw earth. We're going to put grounded. You'll actually be surprised. A homeless man cares about survival, even a yogi. Like in India, people who are on a monk life or who are yogis, they usually go out and beg. Even back in the day, they used to go out and beg homes for food. And you would imagine that is a survival stress, but that survival stress is actually completely different. It targets a completely different neurochemical pathway in the body, a cascade, compared to long-term stress, every single day, prolonged stress of the mind. Okay, so this is a physical stress. Survival stress is sort of physical. Yes, it is somewhat mental, but it's not as impactful on the head, as things like you getting fired from your job, or scared of losing your status in society, etc. That's a completely different stressor to the one that the homeless man, the yogi, experience, even David, etc. The reason why I say grounded is because our head, in Ayurveda, hair, specifically the hair strand, is related to the earth element. I was going to put earth, and then it's also related to space. Now, this can be a metaphor for graying of the hair. Earth and space combined maintain hair health. If you have stress, you're heightened, your nervous system is heightened, you're lifted up, okay, and hence you have hair fall. There's too much air and heat in your body. If there's too much fire in your body because of the stress, the high blood pressure, etc., again, because your head is sensitive to heat, the earth is sensitive to heat. If there's too much heat on the planet, it's essentially going to dry up and it's going to lose its water, and the trees are going to lose and if there's too much air, again, the trees are going to blow off the leaves, and the leaves are going to fall, and that's also represented in us as hair. Okay. Just imagine a tree being bald, or a tree not having its leaves. Why does it not get that? Why does the tree have the leaves turning from green, which is the earth element, grounded, to yellow and brown and falling off? Because it's related to the earth and space, it's more prone when you're not grounded. It's more prone, it's more sensitive to being affected when you're stressed and your nervous system is heightened. Even if you have bad genes with hair fall, if you follow this path, if you walk upon this path, you can make those genes be in a dormant state and not get turned on or not switched on. Be mindful that you have power over your genes. The David I'm talking about, I'll just show you so you can have a look. If you've been to Florence, if you've seen the statue in Florence, Italy, you have the David statue who's got really good hair. This is who he defeats, Goliath. And I'll share the story with you. And this is Shiva, by the way. So what I mean by having a cool, if you can see, he's got the moon and he's got water. He's usually represented with water coming out of his hair. He's a yogi. He's got really good hair, lustrous, dense. All these are good qualities. So the reason why I say heat is because Shiva is represented with the moon and the water coming out of his hair. So it shows that you need to keep your head cool. In Ayurveda, they say the head should be cool, the stomach should be warm, and the feet should be hot. That's the temperatures of a good, healthy body. Now, as I was discussing David and how he defeated Goliath, I want you to imagine as Goliath, someone who protects his status, someone who's big. You know, when, for example, when you go on this journey of earning money, you are afraid of losing it when you have collected a big amount. Okay. You're afraid of losing that money. So you do everything in your power to protect that money. And that's a huge trap one falls into as they age. They think that they fear losing what they've built, and they do anything they can to protect what they've built. And hence they're attached to their protection. They're attached to their past of the wealth that they have built. But that is not the way of living life. That drives a lot of anxiety, that drives a lot of stress in you. The more you strive to protect your status, the more you're likely to lose it. The more you fear something, the more that fear will manifest into your life. Even though you'll be successful in protecting your wealth by taking actions, you'll lose out on other things in your life, such as your hair. Now imagine Goliath, who is this archetype of status. He is big, strong, he's got armor. You as a person, when you have wealth, you like to flex that through your cars, through your watches, through your houses, etc. And you like to elevate your status in society. And you do everything to do that. And in a form of protecting and showing you're strong, you hide your emotions, you hide your vulnerability. This is also a metaphor for your hair. Losing hair makes you feel naked, and you hate being naked. You hate being stripped off. You hate losing out on what you have built in your life. So you do everything you can to protect that image of you, to protect that status, to show that you are not a loser, to show that you're not naked. But these people are ready to be naked in society. Naked is a very extreme word, but just play with it because it makes sense. If you look at a tree which is naked, it doesn't look good, right? It stripped away from the beauty of the earth, from the leaves. You fear losing that. And hence, in that stress, in that whole stress, you lose out on a lot of hair. Now, coming back to Goliath's story. So imagine this archetype of Goliath who is driven by ego, driven by status, who does everything to protect its status. And then you have David who comes along and defeats Goliath, a young adult who comes along and kills Goliath. He just has a stone in his hand, and like a stone that you can move around with like a rope, I think. And he destroys a massive person who has protection, who has armor, who is, in society's aspect, who is a warrior. Even though in life you think by accumulation you can live life, okay, by achieving awards, by accumulating wealth, by showing off, you think that it will elevate your status in life. It's not conducive. If you live in a natural state, which is living in the present moment, which is not being afraid, not being anxious about the future, and not being attached to everything you've accumulated, not being attached to your past, and being grounded, okay, humble. You have nothing on this planet, and you came empty-handed. Okay? You're gonna go empty-handed. You're not gonna take anything. Everything you've gathered materialistically, it's all gonna go. If you understand that, if you stay grounded, stress won't affect you as much. Okay? And hence, you won't get hair fall. It's very simple. It's a very layman understanding, but this is the essence of knowing how to keep your hair healthy. And these are all representations of people who live like this. A person who is living in the past will also live in the future. Okay? They will be scared of the future. So let's have a look at. So attachment to the past creates fear of the future. This is the beauty of understanding health. It gives you so much insight into life. Okay, and this is what I've tried to do every week. Go on this journey of understanding one condition at a time that a human experiences. And you wouldn't believe, but the whole universe sort of conspires to help channel this energy of understanding, how to connect all the dots, and they somehow form together very beautifully. So attachment to the past leads to fear of the future. Fear. And this is where you live all your life. These are the two states you live in all your life. And then you complain about stress. You go to the doctor, you complain about, I'm getting high BP, I'm getting this, I'm getting that, hair fall, not good bone health. You're never present. You're never present with your food that you eat. You're never present in the relationships that you've built. You're never present with the work that you do. You're always worried. You're always stressed. But the answer is to be in the present. It's not to be attached to the actions or to the things that you have accumulated in your life. Okay, to live loosely and positively. This is a teaching. One of the teachings in Rick and Morty. If you watch the show. It's an animation, but it teaches a lot about life very nicely. So the teaching goes, if you plan for failure, you're going to attract failure and negativity. Okay? So whatever you plan for, you're going to attract it. Hence, live life loosely and positively. Let go of this attachment to your hair, this attachment to your status. It comes up, right? Because you're attached to your image, because you're not able to be vulnerable with your emotions, because you're not able to go inside and then understand yourself, and you only live a life which is trying to project and represent an outer image, you start losing yourself. You start losing yourself in societal expectations. You start losing yourself in the mess society has built up for you to clean up. Instead of cleaning up yourself from within, do all the cleaning outside. You think that being beautiful from the outside is your main priority, but that's not how the body works. If you're beautiful from the inside, which comes from understanding these aspects of life, you'll naturally be beautiful from the outside. Okay. If you get good sunlight in the morning, you'll naturally sleep better. You'll stay in the rhythms of the earth. Because we live in a society where there's too much light, not enough darkness, there's artificial light, we're always indoors, there's lack of sunlight. We are not aligned with the rhythms of nature. And guess what? A homeless man, a yogi, and David or Shiva, they're all aligned with the rhythms of nature. And I also discussed that in IBS. If you're not aligned, if you're not sleeping on time, you're not waking up on time, if you're not having patterns that you follow, eating on time, all of these lead to an unalignment of nature. Because of this unalignment, you create stress on the body and you get disease. Being in rhythm with nature, that's also one, by the way. It just comes under this. It's going to put in rhythm with nature. So these are the 5 key aspects of understanding hair health. Now, coming to supplements and herbs, biotin, zinc, as I discussed earlier, having good amounts of protein. Oiling your hair is also really helpful. Doing inverted poses that rush the blood to the head, for example, legs up on the wall or shoulder stand, etc. All those ensure good circulation around the head. They also reduce your stress. Massaging your head with oil like Bhringraj oil. There's also studies of emu oil, and also ginkgo is great for hair. L-carnitine, vitamin D, resveratrol, astaxanthin, curcumin, saw palmetto, coconut oil, sesame oil, collagen. Yeah, all these things are great for hair. Amla, shikakai, washing your hair with shikakai and arita powder. You can color your hair with henna and indigo. They're very good conditioners. Natural herbs. All of these are great for hair health. But if you don't have these things, okay, if you're not grounded, if you're not loose, letting go of this fear of losing your hair is like a sort of a paradox, but it's beautiful. It's allowing yourself to be naked, allowing yourself to be free from the attachment to society. That's the whole process of when you're getting hair loss, is what your body is trying to teach you. Your over attachment to status, your over attachment to accumulation of things, you need to let go. And once you let go, once you're free, once you live loosely and positively, you'll attract better results, and you won't be stressed to lose your hair because you're free from the outcomes of hair loss. It's okay. This is the thing. It's okay who you are. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to have emotions and expression. Okay, you don't have to hide it. You don't have to be Goliath. Okay, you can choose to be David, who is grounded, who's smaller, who has great hair. And I know this is a hard concept to grasp, and it will be really hard to walk upon as well, because for so long you've been conditioned to elevate your status in society, to live by the rules that society has set up, to compromise who you are so you can live up to society. I've seen so many people who I interact with on a daily basis. It's really sad to see themselves getting compromised for who they are, to try and be with someone, to try and impress someone, people, society, to accumulate wealth. Society it's a very complex, adrenal, stressing matrix that it's like a spider's web that forces you to create your own spider's web. You get trapped in that. So it's really hard to imagine a world without compromise, without being attached to things. Okay? That's why things like psychedelics, that's why things like deep, long meditation, going on retreats, understanding yourself, that's why these things can free you from bondage. Okay? All of these people, they're free from bondage. That's the essence. The bondage is your hair. The bondage is Goliath trying to protect himself or believing egoistically that he can achieve anything, or he can destroy anything. It's that belief that status is everything. But the truth is, it's not. The truth is, this is what is real in your life. This is what is natural in your life. There's so many traps that are laid out for you that you can fall into as you walk in society. But you have to be very mindful. This is what these people teach you. Even though a homeless person has nothing, he's still got great hair, which you don't have. And I'm sorry to break it to you, but it's what you're most attached to. That's why you're watching this video. But this is, yeah, yes, he may not have money, right? But you're trading everything for your hair loss as well. You do all sorts of wigs, you do all sorts of transplants, you pay so much money to protect your status. It's a paradox. And yet these people who live in the present moment without doing anything, they have great hair. Yet you're on this one hand, which you're doing every effort you can to not get hair loss. So that's the polarity. That's the beauty that you can learn from when you have a condition in your body. And you might think that this is like weird. It doesn't make sense. It's out of this territory of science. And sure, it is, but this is what is going to give you answers to the answers you're looking for. The answer is not one specific oil. It's not one specific shampoo. It's not these one thing that can fix you forever. It's work of art. It's a work of understanding yourself. It's a work of knowing what you're attached to and being free from that. Letting go of the bondages that you've created throughout your life. And it's hard. It's hard to live life loosely. It's really scary, but that's the thrill, right? The thrill that the only life worth living is on the edge. It's the first person in the battlefield who goes to war. It's the first person who is not scared of standing on the edge of a cliff, and just letting go of that fear. Again, as I discussed earlier, and I like to summarize on this, but I had a deep realization of our universe, of how we operate between these two emotions of fear plus love. Okay? These are our two states. Within the spectrum, we have all the other emotions. If your heart is open, if you're grounded, if you're loving, and you'll naturally won't have stress. Okay, but you have to go through fear in order to love. You have to stay on a thrill. You have to live life on the edge in order for your heart to open up. You have to take risks in order for you to understand what achievement is like, what life is meant to be like. There's risk. Through fear, you have love, which is the last potion of the potency of our emotions. When your heart is open, you vibrate at much higher frequency. You have a much larger aura, and everybody's attracted to that. It's like a magnet. Okay, so you'd notice this whenever you're in love, you get all these people who are attracted to you, and when you're not in love and when your heart is closed, no one is attracted to you. You don't get messages. You don't get calls. You don't get, it's like the dating game that everybody plays. You don't get attracted to. But when you're in love, everyone's attracted to you. That's the beauty. There is a field beyond our senses which operates in this entire universe, and love is that foundational, is that illuminating force that when it vibrates, you have a better life. And yes, all these people, you can say the homeless person, there is lack of love, or in fact there is need for love. The yogi is not attached to love, and David and Shiva, again, they're not attached to love, but there is love existing. Okay, they are in love with, I guess, the universe, or the world that we live in. That is one type of love as well. But within these two aspects, you're free from disease. You're free from disease if you are illuminating with love. Okay, the more happier you are, the less stressed you are. The less stressed you are, naturally, everything in your body will be less inflamed, and you'll have a natural energy within you, which is beautiful, and that shows up on your skin, that shows up on your hair. I would also recommend and encourage you to go on your own journey of discovering your condition and how that is linked from ancient civilization to now, what they believed, what other medicines have to say about your condition, being open to new experiences, enriching yourself, staying grounded, and being on this endeavor of understanding the secrets of the universe. Okay, when you go on this journey, you'll naturally realize that as you drive through, like today, I was driving through to come here, and I saw, like, it might seem a bit high, but I saw ginkgo trees shedding their leaves, and the leaves were like coming directly at my car. And it's just the most magical experience. Like, if you actually look at a ginkgo tree, it looks so beautiful, even with the yellows and the greens. It looks beautiful. Okay. And the way the wind works and the leaves shedding, and it's just like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a magical experience. And this is a metaphor for living life. If you go on a journey in your car, if you get out of the house, if you go on an endeavor, you'll experience magic. A lot of people are too scared. They are too scared to take the risk of understanding new things, of learning new things, of going on journeys. They're always in fear and they're always in stress. They're always just protecting what they have built, you know? But life is meant to be lived loosely and positively. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next video, which will be after 1 or 2 weeks on skin health.